original is the original. For instance, you cannot give another name to Barack Obama. You can't.
Okay.
You can't give another name
really
to Oprah Winfrey. So.
No, okay, Oprah Winfrey, yes, but at least on some days you call her by Oprah.
But still, you can call me Olive, call me Monica.
Well, I am Chantal, I don't have another name.
But good
How
morning.
Are you feeling this morning?
Oh, this morning is beautiful. I like that. It is a bit cold, but not chilly. It's not raining because, you know, rain disorganizes us in the morning. But I am feeling okay, and I'm happy to be here to give you inspiration and, of course, entertainment, because that's what we do on GMU every Friday. This is a special edition, and I can't wait to have a beautiful show.
Right. Well, while we were we were on set, but before we were on air, there's a song that was played by the song by Shaggy, and Olive knew the lyrics, but when it had just started playing, there was someone who was excited. Jerome Paul, what does that song mean to you?
You know what crossed my mind when I listened to the song? It's one of my favorite Shaggy songs. Why? Because it speaks to all ages. Yeah, all ages. So if you are a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, if you are that, that old man with the money,
the sugar daddy,
the sugar daddy, how they call them.
You actually say that song is for
the
sugar
Uncle
daddy.
Bones. No, it's for everybody. And there's also that young man trying to hustle out.
And they're telling you, what's the use?
What's the use? So it's all about you weighing the options. So it's for that young woman who is in conflicting loyalty, I should say, or in that conflict of choosing who is the right person. So when you listen to that song, it may give you some, it may give you some wrong advice for a reason. But then,
he can't take you shopping in Milan. He can't put 10K in your hand.
In your hand.
So what's
he
the
can't
use?
Pay rent,
You're cooking for him and he's not contributing.
So anyway, it's one you have to listen to, and in this generation, you need to weigh your options before you decide which person you're going to definitely spend the rest of your life with. But it's a Friday. The mood here is always filled up with a lot of excitement, and I'm truly excited today as well. This hasn't been a bad week for me, I should say. It hasn't been a bad month as of now. So I'm good. Good morning, Ugandans. Good morning, everybody.
Right. Thank you so much, Jerome Paul. I would like to know how the ancestor on the team.
You did.
There was a point while you were with Olive when we officially named him the ancestor on the team.
Wow.
Good morning, Uncle Bob.
Oh, good morning, Bazukulu. And of course, good morning.
Oh no, you've not earned that right.
Well, it is a Friday, and of course, Fridays, my mood is always very high. I'm really always very excited. It's some time to spend quality time with family, quality time with friends, also do extra gigs here and there. So the Friday is here, and one thing I learned is you must find a way of sometimes living one day at a time. Because I met a friend of mine and he seemed to have so many issues. And he would even be bothered by things he cannot solve himself. No? You find someone is bothered about his height. There's something even real stressing him, and I'm like, but for sure, you have to learn to let go of certain things, Because if you don't, at the end of the day, you'll age quick, you will be stressed, and you'll be a problem to the community. Those people that are always, but what's wrong with this person for sure? So always find something to put a smile on yourself, and that is the number one reason why you should wake up with us on Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you.
Because you'll start your day, no matter how tough the night was, we'll put a smile. The four of us, there'll be a reason for you to smile.
You've mentioned something, and I've remembered earlier this week, the entire world was celebrating World Mental Health Day, and there were videos that were circulating on social media, and there is one that caught my attention, one which was rotating around how we associate with different people, and you never know what they're actually going through. And there was a video that was actually that actually made lots of round onto the football, people who follow a lot of football, that you may actually find someone who is very happy every day, but when they are going through depression. So at times it's very difficult to tell who is depressed or who isn't. But like Robert has mentioned, at times we also need to stop worrying about things we can't control, because at times there are things that are completely out of our minds, or rather out of our hands, and we cannot manage to control them unless otherwise, and we have to just let them go, pray about it, do the right things, but not put all of our minds to it, because at the end of the day you may be losing focus simply because of something that may never come to an end.
And when you mention, you know, meeting people and they're seemingly okay,
Yes.
this is the point where I need to remind everyone to always check on that person, your relative, your friend, who always seems to have everything under control,
Yes.
who always seems to be strong and has a solution for everything, even your own personal problems. You know, you can run to that person and they help you. Sometimes they're going through too much, but because we have known them as the strong people, we never check on them. And this week, having been World Mental Health Week as well, this is the time we need to really check on our people, because they could be going through something.
Right. This week, I think it was on Wednesday, I had a conversation with someone who sent about $3,000 to someone in the US. The person they sent the money to was really well off, but the person they sent the money to was really happy. So this person asks, why were they really happy that I sent them money, yet they have more than enough, they have more than I do? And I told this person, because these people who are assumed to have more rarely receive. People who are with them in most cases are on the receiving end. They are usually giving and giving and giving. So like you said, for those friends of yours that are usually posting the memes all the time, joking so much, sometimes it is actually a way of hiding pain, and we have to reach out to some of those people. Okay. Inspiring Uganda is what we are doing, but for now, we are going to be diving into the local stories and international stories. We'll see what is happening in the country and across borders, and then later on we'll be getting into different parts of entertainment.
And we'll begin with the president promising more salaries for lecturers or teachers in high institutions in the field of science. Now, during the 20th anniversary celebration of the National Council for Higher Education at Koro Independence Grounds, President Yoweri Museveni pledged to increase salaries of lecturers teaching science and engineering courses in higher education institutions, aligning them with their counterparts in private institutions. The president emphasized that this move is critical in saving lives and providing essential experts, especially in industries such as aviation that require skilled engineers. Moving on, the Mityana Municipality Member of Parliament, Francis Zake, is again in trouble as Parliament initiates fresh investigations into his public conduct. MP Zake is accused of using bad language against fellow members of Parliament while officiating at an event in Rakai district. The victim, Subicha Matama, the woman representative for Rakai district, raised a procedural matter which turned the afternoon session rowdy, forcing the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, to prematurely adjourn the House. Zake's accusations come after the Constitutional Court 2 weeks ago crushed the Parliament's decision to censure MP Zake from the Parliamentary Commission.
Moving on, the Minister for Works and Transport has officially announced the 30th anniversary celebrations for the Uganda National Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors, scheduled to take place from 14th to 16th December. The event, graced by the head of state, will kick off with a contractors run starting from 14th October and concluding on 10th December. This run aims to raise awareness for the improvement of emergency response assistance to road accident victims. Set to be held in Kololo, these celebrations will serve as a vital platform for knowledge sharing, networking, and exploring the latest trends in the construction industry. During a press briefing, the UNABS President Jameson Olonya and the Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, shared insights about the upcoming events. And lastly, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, has urged men in the country to embrace HIV self-testing, aimed at scaling up HIV testing services in the country. Acheng made the remarks during the launch of the wonderful HIV self-test kit under the theme dubbed Testing for Young Men, campaign aimed at the fight against HIV/AIDS in Uganda. In the same meeting, it was revealed that the country is to establish manufacturing facilities for diagnostics, testing kits, vaccines for the region in November. Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, the Minister of Health, has cleared community HIV self-testing campaign targeting men that will later be extended to other priority groups. The campaign is aimed at increasing the uptake of HIV testing services among men as one of the priority populations with HIV testing gaps. It will target over 5,000 border men in the 5 divisions of Kampala.
Crossing over, Israeli airstrikes are pounding the Gaza Strip for a 6th consecutive day as fears of a humanitarian disaster in the besieged Palestinian enclave mount. Israel on Thursday said it had dropped 6,000 bombs weighing 4,000 tons on Gaza in the past 6 days, killing more than 1,400 people. Officials in Gaza said the dead included 447 children, 248 women, and 10 healthcare workers. More than 150 people were killed on Thursday alone. Entire neighborhoods in Gaza, home to 2.3 million people, half of them children, have been destroyed by the bombing, forcing 338,000 Palestinians to flee their homes and take shelter. The death toll in the occupied West Bank has also surged to 31, while more than 600 people have been injured, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. And away from that, India's Bank of Baroda made it simple and easy for its agents to steal money from the accounts of its customers. And some of them did steal 2.2 million rupees, that is 27,000 US dollars, from 362 customers, internal audit reports and records of the bank have revealed. The audits come after an expose by the Reporters Collective and Al Jazeera, which showed the bank's employees had linked unauthorized mobile numbers to customers' accounts that were missing a registered mobile number to onboard them on the bank's new mobile banking app, BOP World. These unauthorized mobile numbers were of bank staff, managers, guards, their relatives, and bank agents in remote areas. The story warned that the bank's underhand tactics devised under pressure to boost registration on its app could lead to identity theft and pose a grave risk to the money of customers. The bank admitted as much in internal emails last year. It is a fraud-prone area, multiple emails about the bogus mobile numbers noted. And crossing over to Gabon, Sylvia Bongo, wife of ousted Gabonese President Ali Bongo, is being held in pre-trial detention on allegations of the embezzlement of public funds, her lawyer says. She had been under house arrest since the 30th of August coup, but after a long hearing in front of a judge, it was decided that she should be detained in jail. Her lawyer, Françoise Zimere, criticized the decision and is quoted as calling it arbitrary and illegal. Mrs. Bongo is facing charges of money laundering, forgery, and falsification of documents. She has not made any public comment on the charges. Now, news agencies understand that she will appear in court in 10 days' time for a further hearing where her lawyer can make a case for her release. The former head of Gabon's cabinet, Brice Alihanga, who was jailed 4 years ago on charges of embezzlement, misappropriation of public funds, and money laundering, gave evidence at Mrs. Bongo's hearing. And speaking matters climate, Malawians have been warned of an extreme heat wave that could see temperatures rise up to 44 degrees Celsius. People have been urged to avoid alcohol, caffeine, as the drinks could cause dehydration. The Weather Bureau says high temperatures are usual for October, but are likely to become more frequent and severe because of climate change. Intense heat waves also hit parts of North Africa, Europe, the US, and Mexico in July. Experts say 2023 is likely to be the warmest year on record due to ongoing emissions of warming gases and El Nino weather events. In an advisory, Malawi's Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services said a prolonged period of hot and uncomfortable weather was expected to persist until Saturday. Now that is it for climate news and what is happening across borders. But Sonko has what is happening in today's dailies.
And in the New Vision today, closed teachers' colleges, what next for the 1,400 affected staff as government calls for calm over new reforms, more of the same in the New Vision today. Now, a new bill, officers without rainwater storage facilities face 100 million Ugandan shillings fine. The New Vision brings you details. Now, corruption, Hoima district officials convicted over fraud. You can read more about the same. Government tasks universities on quality education. A pictorial of President Yoweri Museveni and the First Lady meeting some of the leaders from various universities. Then in the agricultural perspective, Kowundi GBV Njeru factory to start recruiting in January. Read more of the same. And in the international news, detailed analysis on Israel-Palestine war. You can read more about the same. Now, the Daily Monitor highlights teachers jailed over plot to leak examinations. You can read more about the crackdown in the Daily Monitor today. In the other news, government gives Bitature multi-billion power deal. Which deal is that? Read more about the same. And in the Scoop magazine, can Keko make us dance again? Read more about the return of Keko to Uganda. That is according to what the Daily Monitor is highlighting. Now, furthermore, in the Daily Monitor, Minister fires UNBS chairman. Read more about the chairman who was fired and why was that one fired. Then in the other news, uproar over Zakeri Marks forces Parliament to suspend seating. The Daily Monitor bringing you more details this particular Friday. Now, the Daily Nation in Kenya, as we cross the borders to see what is making headlines away from Uganda. In Kenya, the Daily Nation highlights the Kenyan Airways says that the incident was stood down by security and aircraft cleared. YKQ plane was diverted in London. Read more about that in the Daily Nation today. Now, GM Foods on our plates now a reality after court ruling. Read more of the same. Now, Blinken visits Israel to stress solidarity, urge and restraint. The same is being highlighted by the Daily Nation. Now, Cuban doctors to leave after deal halted. That is in Kenya. There is also progress and sticky issues in Ruto-Raila talks. Read more about the same in the Daily Nation. Then in athletics, Kiptum 2 in the running for World Athlete of the Year. That is in the Kenyan Awards. Now, lastly, from our press review this morning, the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania, Samia's bag of Indian goodies is the headline on the front page of the Citizen. Then a $2.3 million boost for farm using flies to reduce waste. Which farm is that? The Daily Nation brings you more. Then government banks on research to slash carbon emissions by 35%. That is in Tanzania. Then the national appeal, pray for Palestinians, says the ambassador. Then in the beat, the revolution, Will and Jada lived a secret life for over 7 years. So you can read more about the Will Smith family in the Citizen newspaper today. Quite an interesting one, by the way. And well, I've been seeing all over social media where people are actually saying Will Smith may be the simp of the decade or the year. I don't even know. The simp of the century.
I disagree though. I don't think he's a simp. He's just a good man, a good husband. Yes, but we are so used to bad men who mistreat their wives, that when we see a man that is doing the alternative, we call them a simp.
Well, that is a conversation that may take us quite some time, because we could debate who is the bad and who is the good one, and we may not finish, because you never know the details of what happens behind closed doors. Sonko.
Really?
Really?
Justin?
Well, we will be going for a very short break, but when we come back, we are going to be speaking matters, conduct especially by our politicians. Please do note, just like the report said, MP Zake is now being questioned when it comes to his public conduct. Also, do remember that in 2017, we had what I would call a fist fight in our own parliament. And on a number of occasions, we've seen things happening. I mean, if you talk about conduct, if you talk about conduct, you talk about even things to do with corruption, things to do with, you know, even on the road, how these people behave, and every other thing. We're going to be breaking that down. We are going to be speaking matters, conduct of our politicians. So please do share your comments when we get back. Also, do be part of the conversation. We enjoy hearing from you. For now, let's take a very short break. We'll be right back.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwao.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too. Dial *100*0# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*0# to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. You are still watching UBC Television. This is Good Morning Uganda, and this is the Friday edition. We are here to discuss matters of national importance. And like I earlier on mentioned, we are now taking a look at, we are not going to center this on the MP Zake, but we are going to talk about conduct when it comes to our leaders, when it comes to our politicians, because it cuts across, so we would like you to please do share your views on the conduct and behavior of politicians. Please do put into consideration that yesterday's incident is not the only one that we can point out. I will take you back to 2017 when members of parliament fought. I'm talking about a fist fight in parliament. I'm talking about on tables, people standing on tables. I'm talking about people showcased their karate skills that day. But away from that, we are talking about how someone finds it very okay to be corrupt. We're talking about how someone finds it very okay to be in office with another party, but the work they are doing is different from what they are supposed to be doing. We are talking about someone issuing more than one license to a particular document or a particular company. Name the misconduct, name the things that would have your mind boiling at how this person thinks and behaves. And also taking you back to some of the utterances that some of our leaders make on live television, in person when you interact with them, in their leisure time. All that and more is what we're going to be discussing. And of course, when you talk about behavior and conduct, you're going to find yourself in a way getting into upbringing, getting into level of education, getting into level of exposure, and a number of things that we are going to be breaking down now. This set is interesting because I have everyone here. I have Uncle Bob, I have JP Life, I also have Olive Monica Najuma, and we are going to be diving into this discussion to see how best can we have this conversation, still maintaining the respect we have for our leaders and politicians, but of course, talking about this, at the end of the day, if my child is watching the news and there is a report like that, what are they picking? Is that the kind of leader they would want to become? Maybe not, but what precedent has been set? Welcome aboard, so let's have the conversation. The number will be displayed on your screen. You'll be able to send us a WhatsApp message, but also you can go to the X app the discussion is already up there, so you can leave a comment and we'll be going through the comments. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm going to start with a lady on set, and please do share your opinion, do share your view on the conduct and behavior of our politicians.
Well, Chantal, first of all, it is very discomforting that we even have to talk about the behavior of people that are supposed to be called honorables. What does honorable mean to begin with? These are people, when I remember my primary school days and the members of parliament back then, when I remember how much they were respected, the regard people had of them, the perception, and then I juxtaposition that with what we see today, there is a lot left to be desired, and of course it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Seeing a member of parliament, in this case Zake, before he was censured, and of course the High Court overturning that ruling, I remember him insulting the Speaker of Parliament with sexually explicit language. And then when it was brought onto the floor of Parliament, he disregarded what was being said and walked out of plenary because he was so angry, and probably the expressions he had made were to what he termed a silly woman. Now, this is the Speaker of Parliament. You are you are a member of Parliament. She heads the House. Even if she's a woman, and I'm not even saying this to respect, to front, women's rights and whatnot. I'm just saying we need to go back to the round table, and remember our morals and remember decorum. You cannot go out there and be disrespecting the leader of Parliament, the leader of the House. Honestly, are you honorable? Are you honorable when you do things like this? But also we've come to a point where members of Parliament have, we used to call it, we've been calling it dark political sentiments, where we are used to the opposition or even the ruling government members of Parliament, trading insults towards each other and saying that is political language. But we have our children watching. We have young people that are aspiring to be leaders watching, and they are seeing all these expletives being, exchanged. When did our language even get here? When did we start speaking like we are people who are uncouth, uncultured, and do not remember the real fabric that makes us, the norms, the culture, the people that we have always been? I don't really get it. It is really unbecoming, and it is really disorienting, especially for the young people that are supposed to look up to these people and aspire to be them.
Right. Thank you so much, Olive. When you talk about behavior and conduct, I'm now getting to you, Sonko. I'm serving Chirabo for another minute later. Sonko, when you talk about behavior and conduct, and we are talking about our politicians and leaders as well, what's your position? What's your position?
Well, when I got to, when I was following up that report, there's something that crossed my mind. Very chaotic, by the way. What crossed my mind was, if I belong to a political party and then I come out to act like that, and then my political party doesn't issue a statement about my sort of behavior, it then says a lot about the people I also hang out with. I don't know if it does make sense to all of you here.
They say, show me the people you hang out with, and I'll tell you your behavior.
So it's more like, if I am out there and I try to do quite a number of things that are completely out of order, then most of the people who see or view the four of us every morning will start seeing some loopholes. They may not directly say Chirabo has issues or Monica has issues, but they will start looking at us in kind of the same way, or basket, because we've not even come out to issue a statement about the conduct of this particular fellow. And the conduct of our members of Parliament, like Monica has mentioned, when you look at the word honorable, it is coming from the word honor. We are honoring you as someone who is representing us. So we rallied behind you while you're looking for these votes, thinking you are way above us, because I want to believe some of the voters have no capacity of sitting there to hold these conversations or, you know, decide for themselves. So that is why they go out onto the ballot and choose a leader they believe can speak on their behalf. Now, as a constituent, if you watch your member of parliament behaving in that way, it comes back to you and you ask yourself, is this the rightful conduct? Like Monica's mentioned, at times our children, or let's say for the parents or guardians, you sit down with your child and you'll hear their stories, how they are student leaders back at school, and then one would actually tell you, I want to be maybe a leader here and there. And obviously when they watch news, everyone picks interest.
That's true.
Now, if a child realizes that if you're in opposition, you can speak any language you want, or you can easily stand up and utter out any word to, to even the Speaker of Parliament.
You can even exchange punches.
Exactly, you can even exchange punches. Then you're not breeding a society that is going to be respectful. And as a member of Parliament, for some people who vote you, or some of the voters who are way above you intellectually, start looking at you as someone who cannot sit on the same table as them. And then you start losing, the political scores. And it is actually sad that in Uganda here, at times we just vote people simply because of excitement. Like what happened in 2021.
They belong to a particular political party.
Now, when you look at some of the other countries, these kind of acts, you start losing some score points politically.
And it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. By the time you reach 2026, you're losing out.
In some places, people would even respond and ask that you are fired or taken out.
Yes.
I'll give an example. During the COVID-19 lockdown, a minister in the UK government who was very vocal, the Minister for Health, who was very vocal about, social distancing and, masking and whatnot, was caught on camera in an elevator in a compromising position with one of his workers. And people spoke out in numbers, and he was fired.
So at some point, if I'm picking this right, at some point also, we do not have, say, regulations in place or systems in place that are supposed to keep these politicians in check in a way. But I'm going to cross over to Uncle Bob, and I would like to know your overall view when it comes to conduct and behavior of our politicians. Then we can dive into the possible causes of this kind of behavior and conduct.
One of my teachers in Senior 2, in Senior 2, that is when now the Bunsen burners feel they have gotten a grip and they become very stubborn. Now told me that good grades, money, connections can get you to places. But your character and behavior is what will sustain you there. Now, one says society gets the leaders that are a reflection of society. But now when you go to politicians, I want to call them politicians because we have few leaders, apart from our cultural leaders. But here, looking at the context, is politicians. One, it is very unfortunate how far we've gone below the belt in our political arena as a country. Very unfortunate. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday when I talked about how multi-party dispensation has done us so much bad that we've moved away from looking at a person as an individual and we politicize everything. Now, when I was in school, we had debating clubs. And if you were among the people, that would happen Friday after lunch, that are going to debate, you could even miss lunch to ensure your shoe is well polished. You have another uniform because you're going to be
ironed.
Yeah, very ironed. That entire week, if you've been put on the notes board, you are honorable. Your conduct. Should you be involved in a fight, you're cancelled.
Right.
You're not going because are honorable, you fought. We were taught how to handle ourselves in that main hall which was our parliament by then. Today, right from local councils, these division, go to KCCA, go to Machinde, councillors are doing so nonsensical things. Very unheard of. Now, a politician or a leader, the word honorable itself, Sonko has defined it very properly. But even a leader, you're leading people. They are looking up to you. Now, it's very unfortunate that the people looking up to you, if they partake of your character, your behavior, and your discipline, and they also come into leadership, what a problem is Uganda going to be heading for? Now, if you're in a position of leadership, believe me, there's someone looking up to you. There's a young man, sorry to use this name, but it's what is happening. There's a young man in Mitiyana who's looking at Honorable Zake. There's a young girl in Rakai who is looking at Honorable Chinya Matama. You know, there is someone looking up to you, I want to tell you, and you are a leader. And when you let these young people down, or if they think that is the way of doing things, because it is very unfortunate that you have people who have made it to parliament and have built their political career on abusing and insults.
But Robert, it is also said that if you're having a debate and you resort to insults, it means that your mental capacity has reached its ceiling. You cannot come back with something tangible to say, so now you resort to insults. Because why would a member of parliament be insulting another member of parliament, or any leader? Why would you be insulting other leaders?
Maybe a quick one. I think we have, the problem is very big. You people, we have people in this country, and our viewers can testify to this, that their entire political career has been built on abusing, on insults, some on comedy, you know, political insulting each other. And as a country, we have accepted. That's why I said multi-party did us bad. That today, Honorable Ssemujju Nganda, a journalist I respect so much, can come out and doesn't look at the bad, the wrong, but says, I have to stand in solidarity. You get what I'm saying?
You know, this conversation it can be a bit stretched. However, we may not have so much time on our plate. The question I have right now is, what could be the causes? Oliver's already given us one of the causes. It was a very interesting reason. It was a very interesting one. When someone's mental capacity reaches its ceiling, they resort to insults and misconduct, literally. And I actually totally agree that when someone, that's like being put on the wall and you have nothing to do, and the only thing you can do is now attack.
Yes.
Instead of having a conversation, an intellectual conversation where you get to agree to disagree. So, having got the first reason, what other reasons could we have in place that could be promoting or leading to misconduct and poor behavior by some of our politicians?
Now, when I speak to members of parliament, like Shirawo mentioned, or Shirawo or Sonko, one of them mentioned that some of these people got into parliament due to a wave. When we had our last elections in 2021, we recognized that some of the members of parliament in the right now the biggest opposition party, that is National Unity Platform, got there because of a wave that was taking place. So some of them were not really vetted properly to ensure that we are sending a person in there that is worth his salt, that is able to debate and represent the constituency well. There was a social discontent and people went with who was with that party at the time. So that's why I will go back to one of the conversations we had this week where Robert was saying maybe multi-party dispensation has done us some more harm than good, because now we are not voting for people that are worthy of representing us as Ugandans in parliament. We are voting people because they belong to a certain political party, and that is setting us back. So probably we may have to go back and, you know, revisit the decision, the reasons we choose to put these people in the offices they're in. I've seen some people I used to respect so much, some of them journalists, and then they became members of parliament. They became very arrogant. You reach out to them for an interview and they lie. As you people, you're supposed to be honorable. We're supposed to look up to you because you represent us.
Thank you, Olive. Robert, one or two reasons that you suspect or that you've seen analyzed could be the causes of this misconduct and behavior of our politicians.
We've chosen, we've become very complacent to believe that politics and leadership is something that anybody can partake of. So the moment we accepted that, we lowered ourselves so low that now people can take society as, society, we have a general problem, moral decadency and lack of discipline. That is a national problem, and at all levels, I must say. Now, when that happens, society ceases to condemn evil and evil will thrive. Yeah? That I want Zake or I want somebody will abuse someone today because society has lowered its level to that. And they'll say, Oyajamu tuvumira agende mu parliament. So, that is why we are seeing more of these. Recently, I attended some university campaigns where I was invited. And I was looking at these people insulting each other over nothing. Students in school now believe primary campaigns. So society, we need to go back. There's a word they use today called mindset change. But we need to go back on the drawing board and see how do we reshape our political arena. This issue of thinking every duck, every chicken, every goat, every dog can be a leader. Leadership, and also look at how do we have political parties must have a recruitment plan, they must have a mentorship plan, then we can have this better. But where today, political party called Olive, tomorrow, we are taking politics in this country so light, so light. No wonder we are where we are today.
Thank you. Jerome Paul, what could be some of the causes of the misconduct that we are seeing amongst our politicians? Please do note that one MP is not the only one we are basing on. We are basing on a number of circumstances and situations that we have seen unfold in front of our, in front of us when it comes to how our politicians have been behaving over the years. What could be some of those reasons that we could put forward?
There's an element of anger and hatred in our political arena, and it has actually started showing.
Isn't that
for quite some time? No, it's now very unhealthy in our political space.
Yes.
Very unhealthy. Why? Because now, if you disagree with someone, the result is either they're going to insult you or beat you up. And it's not even in the opposition alone. It's also on the other side of the coin.
Yes.
Whereby we've seen members of parliament where if they fail to disagree administratively or in a more intellectual way, the results will either be insultive, or you will hear fighting here and there, calling themselves names here and there, or either way, physical, beating, the physical violence. And this has actually been deep-rooted from society, like Chira was actually mentioned. You'll get to realize that during the 2021 elections, some of the people are actually voting because they would look at a candidate and they say, maybe this one will make more noise for us in parliament. So they don't even care a lot about whether
the views being put forward. Yes.
The views are going to be put forward. And trust me, even in 2021, there are people who have voted in parliament where the voters were actually saying, since the other ones who have been in parliament have been eating, there is that element that they've only been feasting on the salary and government money and the privileges they get as members of parliament. So the others were actually saying, let us vote let us vote fresh blood into parliament. Let them also go and enjoy. So we are voting people not because of their abilities, but because we just want to change the narrative that at least now let's have new faces. Now the new faces are showing us the reason as to why we also needed some experience somewhere, or why we needed some mature minds in specific positions.
But then
like
again,
Parliament.
But these are not
but then again,
minors.
my question still
No,
to
they
you.
may not be minors, but the way they do their things.
My
you
question to
definitely
you,
have
So they are
think
grown
are.
in body but not in
I didn't say that,
My
but
question
anyway.
to you, colleagues, Sonko and Olive, my
Yes.
question to you would be, isn't this something that goes beyond just someone being in politics and goes back down to how they were groomed, how they were raised, and the schools they went to? I'm pointing out the different places that we go, that all phases that we go through that shape us into the people we become.
Yes.
Because if I have had a very good upbringing,
Yes.
you're most likely not going to find me involved in a verbal, exchange with
Yes.
another person. I will keep it a certain way because I have, I've
your
been,
own
yes,
upbringing.
principle and upbringing.
Okay,
I've been
I know.
raised a certain way. Isn't this? I mean, maybe these people have been behaving like
but you
this even
see-
before
But
they
the
joined
whole
politics.
opposition we cannot say that
They were all coming.
most of the opposition members of parliament we've seen exhibiting this behavior, that they were not well raised. But as a parent, I will also tell you this. Children, you will do your best as a parent, but how they turn out is definitely not on you. So probably some of them were entitled even as they were being raised. So we now get to see what they have become. But others now have come, politics has reached a point where we now think that for you to make your point, you have to be so angry. Be very angry. Say things that are unbecoming for you to drive your point across. And maybe it has worked in the past, but Ugandans, we are evolving. And as people who vote for these people into the offices they occupy, we are now questioning them. I will still go back. Unfortunately, right now, the main opposition party that I am going to use when it comes to this is NUP. Their supporters have made it a normal ground to be insulting, whether it is on social media and even in some traditional media. Why? Because their leaders do not call them out. Their leaders do not ask them to, maintain decorum. So you're imagine, go on social media and say something negative about one of their leaders. You're going to see the wrath that will come to you. Only the DP president, Norbert Mao, who calls himself one-man army, has been able to counteract them and stand against them, but it is not easy. And this begs for the question, is this the kind of politics we want? Is this the kind of debate we want? Because it makes me feel like as they are trading these insults, the reasons as to why they were voted for are now being left behind and forgotten. And after 5 years, you're going to find a constituency without a health center you're going to find a constituency without running water in maybe some of their public facilities like hospitals. These are things members of parliament need to bring to the floor of parliament rather than expletives against each other.
Thank you so much.
I think they're more talkative on media than when it comes to putting the actual
But there's
work,
a bigger problem. This is a political style. We've accepted that this is a way we do things. Ugandans, we must wake up and say, enough is enough. I've said we've accepted abusing, throwing insults gets you a place in a elective position. So it is
even us
another
as electorate,
yes, it's
we
a politics.
contribute
Yeah.
to the election and preservation of such conduct in our political arena. That's what you're
Someone
saying.
tells you, well, you are just kuvuma. So when you go below, society goes below and thinking that way.
Okay.
We will reap this and
The
more.
leaders
But
right
Obafemi
now-
Chitono, 20 years to come, if we don't change,
I do have some
you have
comments.
another
I do have some
worse
comments from our viewers, and someone says members of parliament must treat each other, the parliament and the people, with respect, dignity and courtesy, including parliamentary staff. We elected our parliamentary members of parliament, but many lack the standards of being honorables. And the truth is, this is me adding, the truth is no one is going to sit you down and teach you some of these things. It was either you were groomed like that or you raised yourself and we are suffering at the moment. Someone here says, please, let's not just focus on Zake. Clearly, we are not. Ugandan politicians are, use a strong word I may not use, because the voters are also, okay, I think I might have to just do it. This person says, Ugandan politicians are stupid because the voters are also stupid. I don't know if this person votes, but let's leave it at that.
No, actually what he says that the leaders, it is said that the leaders a nation has is an example of what the people in that nation are, because we get them there. So we need to light a torch into ourselves and ask us. Yeah, they come from us. We back them.
Only if the votes are not rigged, that's when they're not coming from us. But let's proceed with the comments. Ugandans vote out of excitement, no ideas. Imagine people leave someone with ideas and vote another because he is funny, he's a comedian, musician, or it's a lady because she is beautiful. This is why we get unserious leaders. Some women vote because a man is handsome. Ugandan politicians don't inspire. We shall, I think he meant to say, when shall we ever have leaders like Obama, Mandela, Gandhi, who can inspire the youth? I am Anthony from Soroti. Thank you so much, Anthony, for deliberating on today's issue. I can assure you the comments are quite many. Paul from Lucas says, I'm very disappointed by the way parliamentarians are behaving in the House. Not only Honorable Zake, but all of them are intolerant. They were all fighting one person who is now a fool among them. All of them, shame upon them. Then, good morning. The so-called politicians these days are all ideologically bankrupt and are voted basing on populist support, comedy, bribery, entertainment, among others. Unless we reinstate the right to recall MPs before their term, you will continue to see such drama. Thank you, Richard, for your comment. Good morning, everyone. I am David Amunonut from Soroti. There are 3 conditions of conducive to political behavior: prevailing conditions, limited resources, and dynamic technology and environment results to attempt to exploit uncertainty of personal gain. This is David. Then someone says, good morning, Uganda. It's very unfortunate to see what is happening in Parliament, the law-abiding House. I think Parliament is breeding bad behaviors. What moral authority do we learn from MPs fighting, abusing, etc.? Thanks, Cosmo Ogwang David from Abim. Thank you so much, Cosmo. Then, good morning, Uganda. Well, a word honorable is very vital. Honorable Zake has let down his I think he meant, his electorate and has committed an offense of deformity. Let that honorable take him to court. However, he is to be checked mentally. Okay, when did we get here? And then, okay, this comment is quite long.
Got a serious blow on the head, and he had issues. So I think that even Honorable Semuju talked about it. Maybe he needs some checking health-wise.
I may not go into that because we might talk till the cows return home. Good morning, family. Opposition politicians have always exposed their bad behaviors time and time again. And this is mostly the NUP party. They even have their saying, tulabise, meaning that their intention is to embarrass and hurt people who are in the ruling party. I wonder how parties have such immoral and disgusting MPs who always pride in their dirty acts. For sure, how can you insult a woman in public? Should they be insulted in private? Anyway, no. The party is built on hate speech, sectarianism, and chaos, and that's why it bats such disgusting MPs. But the biggest blame goes to voters who deliberately chose to vote for people with no merit at all and abandon capable people due to their hatred towards a certain political party. If laws work seriously, Zake could be in jail now, but guess what? He's waiting for his salary, and by the end of the month, what went wrong? This is in caps. He's literally shouting, what went wrong? Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye is the one that sent in this comment. Now, I am Engineer Oliak Samuel. Thanks for the show. Let those people stop their misunderstanding from out, and they should know all our eyes are on them. Do they know that, or do they care? Maybe not. Then someone says, thank you, friends, especially Uncle Bob. We don't have intended mentorship, and also there are no proper mechanisms to handle misconduct at higher levels of leadership. Do you remember Clinton's issue in the US? It costed him and the party in the US. Here in Uganda, we do anything and get away with it. How I pray this multi-party thing is looked into again. These parties are now employment agencies of sorts. They go for people who are popular rather than people who are competent. Imagine our MPs don't debate and many times don't appear in committees for work, yet they are on radio and talk shows. May God help us. Sechibala Ivan from Bombo. Thank you so much for your comment. And unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to read all
Boris
the comments.
Johnson when he went for a party, when he held a party during COVID-19. That costed Boris Johnson.
And he's no longer Prime Minister.
Yes. And let's also, our politicians, learn a culture of resigning. Some of you need to resign.
It is not them to learn the culture.
Robert, that is not about happening. Systems have to be put in place.
Short of your glory and humbly resign.
Systems have to be put in place for some of those things to prevail. However, our time is fast spent. We may not be able to proceed with this conversation, a very interesting conversation, by the way. But please do keep the comments coming in. I will take some time during the course of the show and read out some of your comments. We appreciate the fact that you get to be part of these conversations, and we're glad that you get to watch Good Morning Uganda. We have been talking about the conduct of our politicians, that is in terms of how they behave in parliament, even the ministers themselves, all politicians we are talking about. I mean, when you look through it, you realize that it cuts across. It's only because, of course, the MPs are in the spotlight, because the reports get to come out. But if you've had an interaction with some of those leaders on your village, some of them will tell you they don't care about some of the things that you're telling them. A lot is going on. But that is the discussion we have been having, and some of the things that need to be put in check. One, systems on how these people can be let go or punished for the things that they do, but also as electorates looking into the people that we are voting into power. Let's not vote out of excitement, but vote ideologies that are going to push us to the next level. For now, let's get into a very short break. When we come back, the performance that he was talking about is going to be, taking place, so please do stay with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Wage Shadia. Onko nakasimu nensiya nga papa. Umutawana ati. Ngola bikawera dikide.
URA manja. Kankubuli. Basooka ne bampeereza ekipapula kya miliyoni 2. Omwaka guli ne mpalapalanya ne sibasasula nengira ki. Mbandi wano nga bandeetedde ekipapula kya miliyoni 6. Musimanyi mulimu penalty, simanyi mulimu biki, ng'omusolo gwazaala abaana n'abazzukulu. Sikulimba gw'okola otya.
Vaawo naawe Shadia. Omusolo tegukulemesa site naawe ng'ate gavumenti yabigonza.
Kati nkole ntya?
Okimanyi nti bw'osasula kati omusolo gwo gwonna ogukubanjibwa okuva emabega okutuuka nga 3 June 2023 tojja kusasula magoba na ngasi oba ziyite penalties.
Kisoboka kiti ekyo?
Abasuubuzi ababadde babanjibwa emisolo emikadde gavumenti yatuteerawo waiver.
Byebiki?
Okay, kati kiri bwe kiti. Omwaka gw'ebyensimbi guno ogwatandika nga lumu July 2023 gavumenti yagamba nti buli muntu asasula omusolo gwe mu bujjuvu nga 31 December telunatuuka ajja kusonyiyibwa amagoba n'engassi oba ziyite penalties. Yes. Kyekyo bwe kityo bwe kitambula akasanyulo katambula.
Leka naawe nga URA ekusonyiwa omusolo yeekuddako tebasobola.
Kitunudde bwoti baali bakubanja miliyoni 2 kati ne bakuleeta ekipapula kya miliyoni 6 nga bataddeko engassi n'amagoba. Okitegeera kaakati bw'osasula kati ojja kusasula miliyoni 2 zokka. Kati gana amagoba n'engassi agaweze miliyoni 4 tojja gasasula bagakusonyiwa.
Bagansonyiwa. Bane biweeva mbisangewo okusasula.
Sasula mu bujjuvu omusolo gwo gwokka ogukubanjibwa ng'okozesa emikutu egy'enjawulo egisasulirwako omusolo oba nyiga kamunyenye 285 kadaala oba genda ku ofiisi ya URA yonna ekuli okumpi oluŋŋamizibwe ng'omukisa guno tegunnaggwako. Uganda Revenue Authority tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too. Dial *100 *0# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100 *4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100 *0# to get started.
Airtel. A reason to imagine.
This weekend on UBC.
You remind me of Christ when he's being crucified.
Yeah.
And then he says, Father, forgive them.
For they
do not know what they are doing. Luke chapter 23. You know, they do not know what they are doing. But look at this. This is a man in pain. Yeah. According to our humanistic understanding.
It was pain.
It was real.
But his heart
was not in pain.
Was not. His heart overrode pain. The physical pain. And he said, you can do nothing to me that can keep me from loving you.
Now, his confessions are contrary to what he's going through. In other words, he has matured to a level of being able to know how to handle pain and how to love.
Thank you.
Now, his love superseded the pain he was experiencing.
In fact, he was willing to endure the pain in order to release the love.
The love. In other words, you cannot love until you're able to master the pain.
This weekend on UBC.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
watching Good Morning Uganda on UBC Television. It is a Friday edition, and we get to turn it down, get to have some entertainment, and to usher you into the weekend. Now, with me on set, I do have Kopsinge Jacqueline. I hope I've pronounced the name well. Yeah. Thank you very much. How are you feeling?
I'm amazing. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. We are also excited to have you here. I don't want to take so much of your time. And like we did on Friday, we just entertain people, we sing, get into the music. So for now, I'll let you take it away. We'll be having an interaction a little later.
Thank you so much. I'm very delighted. Ai mukama wanonya nse wamanya omanyi poentula era pwengolokoka otegera okuloza kwange ngo kuchaliwala Thank you so much. That song, the song is called Omanyi, written and performed by Kopsinge Jacqueline. We're going to go to the next song that is called Fly Like an Eagle. This is also a song by Kopsinge Jacqueline, yours truly. And yeah, let's take it away. Shielding me from what's beyond that I can handle, what's beyond is a cover. The song goes Tukuwe Chitiwa. Sorry, Tambulanga Sitya. Tambulanga Sitya is an amazing song. It's I think it's a legendary song in the gospel fraternity, and I hope you enjoy it. Okwagala kwo kumpitilideko ngakulungi ngakunjinyo okwakuleta kunsi kuno okutufirira omusaiga waiwa ekologosa ogogwe kukuma bulijjo ogogwe kukuma tambulanga sitya olw'omusaayi ogwayika ekigambo kyo Yesu mwe muli amaanyi ago gankuma bulijjo ago gankuma. Thank you so much. This is so amazing.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Uganda Revenue Authority URA, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, will launch the URA Digital Strategy on Friday 13th October 2023 at the URA NIP grounds, Nakawa. The URA Digital Strategy is aligned to the National Digital Transformation Roadmap launched in August 2023 and to the broader Uganda Vision 2040. It aims at optimizing URA operations, strategic direction, and value proposition through a deep and coordinated shift in tech culture, workforce deployments, and the use of advanced technologies. These include big data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to transform tax administration processes and build an integrated and secure tax ecosystem. The strategy sets out to deliver near-instant tax services, inclusive solutions for all tax segments, and solid technologies within convenient reach for taxpayers. The exciting, all-encompassing, client-centric goal of this transformation is to create a simplified tax experience near you. This is a hybrid event with minimal physical attendance. Virtual attendance options are Zoom, live stream via LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube by way of URA TV.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. This weekend on UBC.
You remind me of Christ when he's being crucified.
Yeah.
And then he says, Father, forgive them.
For they know not.
They do not know what they are doing. Luke chapter 23. you know, they do not know what they are doing. But look at this. This is a man in pain, according to our humanistic understanding.
It was pain.
It was real.
But his heart
Was not in pain.
was not. His heart overrode pain, the physical pain. And he said, you can do nothing to me that can keep me from loving you.
Now, his confessions are contrary to what he's going through. In other words, he has matured to a level of being able to know how to handle pain and how to love.
Thank you.
Now, his love superseded the pain he was experiencing.
In fact, he was willing to endure the pain
for the sake
in
of love.
order to release the love.
In other words, you cannot love until you're able to master the pain.
This weekend on UBC.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you so much for keeping it Good Morning Uganda. This is the Friday edition. My name is Olive Monica Najama, and I am joined by Mr. Paul N. Bendera, an education consultant. Now, today we would like to delve into matters education of our youngsters. And of course, Mr. Bendera has a book that I have here with me, and it is titled Competence-Based Learning, a shift from traditional to progressive learning. What is that all about? Is it the answer to our education system? That's what we need to know, and that's where we are going. That's why we are having this conversation. Good morning, Mr. Bendera, and welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Olive.
Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us. And of course, let's have a bit of a conversation regarding the book. What inspired you to, first of all, come up with this book, Competence-Based Learning?
Thank you so much, moderator. I was motivated to author this book, considering the concerns most teachers have had in Uganda regarding the newly introduced curriculum.
Okay.
Yeah, because I realized that most schools are implementing the curriculum, but they say they don't know what they're supposed to do when it comes to teaching and assessment in general.
Okay. So in this book, what topics do you touch on?
Well, there are quite a number of topics. One, I first wanted to educate the masses on what the purpose of education is. Then I also discussed in the same book what a curriculum is. Most of our teachers do not know how to design an appropriate curriculum and even evaluating the curriculum they have. Then in the book, I also discussed matters relating to assessment, because it came to my notice that most of the teachers in Uganda, when you ask them what forms of assessment, they only talk of two. The formative assessment and the summative.
Which one is the formative and the summative?
Formative is the ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah, then summative is what happens at the end of the topic or at the end of the year. But in my book, I also discussed diagnostic assessment, which is very important as far as teaching and learning is concerned, because this is where the teacher ascertains the background knowledge the learners have on the concept or the topic he is going to teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this book, is it geared towards teachers or even learners themselves?
Yeah, the learners can also use, but the major audience that I targeted was the teachers, the curriculum developers, implementers, the parents, policymakers, and even casual readers. The parents can also read, because when it comes to issues of assessment, the parents also need to know how their learners should be assessed in school.
Okay.
So that knowledge is also important to the parents.
So I see among the topics that you touch on in the book is problem solving and critical thinking. And I think as a Ugandan and formerly a student, I think these are areas that many students are actually grappling with, because you realize that someone comes out of school and they get into the labor force, but their problem-solving skills are a bit wanting, and even critical thinking. So take us through a bit into those two.
Yeah, that's true, because most of the teaching or learning that happens in the country is teacher-centered. And here, the schools mostly emphasize the content, but not teaching concepts to the learners.
Okay.
So when it comes to different aspects of learning, or what we call the approaches to learning, skills which include thinking, self-management, social skills, research, communication skills, these are not so much emphasized in our schools. That's why we have that problem when it comes to problem solving and even critical thinking.
Okay, so now for a teacher out there, of course, first of all, you'll have to buy this book, because I believe it is a good guide. But maybe a little bit into, for instance, if someone is passionate about teaching critical thinking, how do they go about that?
One, in fact, everyone has to be passionate about critical thinking, because aside from using these skills in school, even outside school, we are supposed to be critical thinkers, creative thinkers, analytical thinkers, and that kind of thing. So one, the teachers or the parents or any member of the school community needs to be a lifelong learner, must have that passion of being a lifelong learner, such that he is able to acquire more knowledge and skills that will help them in being able to analyze situations, especially in our environments where we stay.
Okay. Now you also speak about reciprocal teaching.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that one goes back, because you realize that with the teacher-centered method that I talked to you, it's about the teacher passing over information to the learners. But here we emphasize that learning should move forward and back. The learners must also demonstrate that they are actively engaged in the learning process. For example, when it comes to assessment, what happens here, it's only the teacher who does the assessment. But with this model of teaching, the learners can also come up with assessment strategies and even tools that can be used in the learning process.
So that is reciprocal teaching. How about traffic lights?
Yeah, traffic lights. You use traffic lights, for example, if we are working on something.
Yes.
Then we reach somewhere and we have to stop. And so, for example, we need to reflect on what we have been doing. So the traffic light system allows us to reflect on what we have been learning. So we reach somewhere and pause.
Okay.
Then we reflect and say, is what, for example, if I'm a teacher, I ask myself, is the method I'm using effective in the learning and teaching that takes place? So if it is not, I will have to devise the methods and say, maybe this one has not worked, I have to.
Is that the point where you get to feedback and also reflexive thinking?
Yeah, feedback is very important in learning. But the problem is that in our traditional system, reflecting is not emphasized anywhere. Yeah, because when you look at the attributes of learner profile, being reflective thinker is one of them, one of the attributes of learner profile.
So now that you mentioned that reflecting is not really encouraged in our traditional way of studying, you have it in the book here, but I would like for you to tell us, the teacher out there or school owners or people that are leading schools, how should they encourage this? Because I believe it works hand in hand with the critical thinking.
Sure, there's something that we call the learner agents. Here the students demonstrate the voice and choice in the learning process. So for example, at the end of the unit, we set goals. And these goals are supposed to be set depending on the individual student needs and interests. So at some point, for example, after the topic has been taught, we need to go back and say, did the goals that we set, were they achieved or not? If they were not, what could be the reason? The teacher will say, probably the methods I used were not appropriate. And the learner also has to reflect and say, for example, when I was given an assignment, I didn't put in much effort to work on it. Probably that's why I was not able to achieve my learning goals. So the teacher and the learner have to look back where they've come from. What process have we gone through? What we set, is it what has been achieved? And if not, what is the reason for that?
Okay. Now, we also understand that, like you said, our teaching has been mainly learner-centered.
Teacher-centered.
Teacher-centered.
Yeah.
And now we have this new curriculum. But we also have a problem of egos when it comes to teachers. And I remember an example. Of course, I was in primary school many years ago. But I remember when my teacher of SST went on the board and wrote the waters of East Africa. And I said, excuse me, sir, you made a mistake. It is not waters, it is water. Of course, he was right because it was waters of East Africa in general. And I was mistaken. But I will never forget his response. He demeaned me, made me feel like I am too proud that I set out to make him look bad. But I was just a learner who pointed out something. And the way he came back at me, to this day, I remember. What am I trying to say? We have egos of teachers where they sometimes will not listen to a student's sentiment. So how are we going to ensure that we have this critical thinking, reflective learning, and feedback when we are dealing with some people that are still traditional in their way of, execution?
Thank you, moderator. And that's the problem I have always talked about. That comes about because the teacher think that they know more than the students. But for us, we believe that a teacher is also a learner. If every teacher can understand that he's a learner, some of those egos will be eradicated. But that's the challenge we have. That's why I told you, when a teacher goes to class, thinks that he knows everything about what he or she is going to teach, and they do not want to draw knowledge from the learners. Okay. That's why they don't want, you tell them something, and they think this child is challenging, which is healthy in education. In fact, like the question you asked, it was appropriate for learning process because you wanted to clarify why is it waters and not water.
Yet water has no plural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So the teachers just need to understand that they are learners. The parents are learners, and a member of the school community is a learner. And learning does not stop. So the teachers should not think when the students ask them, they are underlooking them or that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about ICT, because we also understand that the world has really gone STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And of course, the president himself has been very vocal about us as a country magnifying sciences more in our way of teaching. So based on this new curriculum and on your book, how do we move into that direction? In fact, it's the best direction, and I would encourage everyone to support the president's move when he is talking about science and technology. Now, remember, with competence-based learning, we are talking of students being inquirers. They have to conduct research and that kind of thing. Now, this helps us for the students, one, in conducting investigations. The other time I was discouraging the reliance on textbooks as the main source of information. Because I said this is not a primary source of information. So we can use technology for the students to inquire if they want to conduct research. But even in presenting their research findings, when we come to presenting students knowledge of what they have been learning, they can do it in different forms. For us, we assess students by using paper, question, and answer. But we need to be open and leave students to choose. One student may say, I want to demonstrate understanding of the concept. For example, I've been teaching about human migration. The child has grasped the concept but wants to show the presentation. One will say, I'm going to create Google Slides and demonstrate, or I make the presentation to them. One will say, I want to use a poem. One says, I'm going to present or demonstrate my understanding through a song. And these are all transferable skills that can be used in different aspects of life.
Exactly. So this idea of assessing students using paper, pen, I think it should be looked into.
It's a bit limited because the argument has always been that yes, we may sit and answer a question on paper, but then some people may be weak there. Yet, like you said, they are strong in expressing themselves in another way. Maybe the spoken word, maybe the arts. And if we just sit them down and say, this paper is going to determine how effective you are as a learner, it is a bit limited.
It is. In fact, it limits most of it. The other time I was talking of different categories of learners. We have the kinesthetic, those ones who learn by touching. We have the auditory ones, those who learn by hearing. Then we have the visual learners, those who learn by seeing. So when it comes to assessment, we also need to differentiate assessment methods. Even teaching, we use different.
And we also have learners that have challenges like dyslexia. They do not grapple information or understand information at the rate as their peers. So some of them will be slow in understanding, and those are normally dubbed as maybe a dull, but their understanding is just at a different level.
Sure. In fact, in that book, I have talked about the slow learners and how a teacher can identify slow learners, what strategies that you can use to help these people. Last time when I was here, I was condemning the use of the examinations that we have, that 1 million students in the country sitting for a national examinations are given the same
set
questions.
Of paper and
they have to answer the same questions
the same way,
and using within the same amount of time, which is very wrong, and learners do not learn at the same pace. So when we assess students in that way, we are doing a disservice to a very big number of students. So teaching assessment must be differentiated according to the learner's abilities and interests.
Okay, Mr. Bendera, time is against us. So what would be your parting shots to a parent, a teacher out there?
Well, first, I encourage them to acquire this book because there's a lot of information that pertains to what the new curriculum asks us to do. But the book is not only targeted for the teachers, even the parents. I want the parents to actively engage in their child's learning. So they need to know the purpose of education, where they take. Are you aware that most people in Uganda think that education is solely for people getting jobs and that kind of thing? But it's not. Even when it comes to assessment, the parents need to know how their children are assessed in schools. I've talked over issues here, quality issues regarding assessment, what authentic assessment is. There are so many things that I have explained here. So I would encourage anyone who can be in access of the book. We have got a lot of copies. Yeah, we have a lot of copies in Aristoc.
Oh, so if you want to get this book, it's called Competence-Based Learning, A Shift from Traditional to Progressive Learning by Paul N. Bendera. It will help your child, or even you, the teacher, the instructor, and the parent, to understand what this new curriculum is all about and how best you can instruct your learners. You can get it from Aristoc Booklets. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bendera, for being a part of Good Morning Uganda this morning and for the great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
We need this.
Thank you.
And for you, viewers, thank you so much for being a part of GMU Friday edition. We still have a lot, coming your way, so stay tuned.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority, URA, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, will launch the URA Digital Strategy on Friday, 13th October 2023 at the URA NIP grounds, Nakawa. The URA Digital Strategy is aligned to the National Digital Transformation Roadmap launched in August 2023 and to the broader Uganda Vision 2040. It aims at optimizing URA operations, strategic direction, and value proposition through a deep and coordinated shift in tech culture, workforce deployments, and the use of advanced technologies. These include big data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to transform tax administration processes and build an integrated and secure tax ecosystem. The strategy sets out to deliver near-instant tax services, inclusive solutions for all tax segments, and solid technologies within convenient reach for taxpayers. The exciting, all-encompassing, client-centric goal of this transformation is to create a simplified tax experience near you. This is a hybrid event with minimal physical attendance. Virtual attendance options are Zoom, live stream via LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube by way of URA TV.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. This weekend on UBC.
You remind me of Christ when he's being crucified.
Yeah.
And then he says, Father, forgive them.
For they know not.
They do not know what they are doing. Luke chapter 23. You know, they do not know what they are doing. But look at this. This is a man in pain, according to our humanistic understanding.
It was pain.
It was real.
But his heart
Was not in pain.
was not. His heart overrode pain, the physical pain. And he said, you can do nothing to me that can keep me from loving you.
Now, his confessions are contrary to what he's going through. In other words, he has matured to a level of being able to know how to handle pain and how to love.
Thank you.
Now, his love superseded the pain he was experiencing.
In fact, he was willing to endure the pain
for the sake
in
of love.
order to release the love.
In other words, you cannot love until you're able to master the pain.
This weekend on UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Watching Good Morning Uganda on UBC television. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. You can choose to call me Chantal, being a Friday, and I'm here to give you just a little bit of entertainment this morning, making sure that I do make some recommendations for some of the movies that you can watch this weekend if you decide to stay in, if you decide to go to the cinemas, if you decide to Netflix and chill. Though Netflix and chill is a figure of speech to mean something else, but let's stick to the real Netflix and chill, yeah? Well, this morning I'm recommending one movie titled River Wild. This is a 2023 American thriller film that is reimagining the 1994 film The River Wild and a modern-day standalone sequel. It was directed by Ben Ketai. From a script he co-authored with Mike Nguyen Lee. The film stars Adam Brody, Leighton Mister, and Taran Kilam. The film entered principal photography and it commenced in July 2022 in Hungary, wrapping up later that year. River Wild was released direct to home video through physical and digital release on August 1st, 2023. Take a look at the trailer.
Glad you're finally doing this.
It'll be fun. Nice change of pace.
This is my kid sis, Joey.
Trevor?
He heard you were coming and wanted to join the trip. Hey girls, we should load up. It's time to float.
Just like old times then.
Fill her up.
Guys, we need help here! What happened?
I don't know. She tripped.
He grabbed me.
Remember that song we used to sing in our tents off Snake River? All I really want to do is get away. Every other day it's something new.
I didn't do anything wrong. I got you.
And we might never die.
Don't look back, just run! Run!
What'd you do?
That is the movie right there. What you need to know, I don't want to be a spoiler, so I'll just give you like bits and pieces of what you're going to be expecting in this movie, having seen the trailer now. Estranged brother and sister, that is Gray and Joey Reese, embark on a whitewater rafting trip amongst tourists with their childhood friend named Trevor. Along the river, the events quickly turn from exciting to terrifying as the group finds themselves trapped alongside a killer whose intent is to sabotage the trip while keeping secrets from the past from being revealed. Now, Joey must overcome her fears and work with her brother, Gray, to survive the end of the river before it's too late. That is just a sneak peek into what you will be expecting. Do note these siblings are estranged, so it gets better, I believe. So if you are someone that is into thrillers, this is the movie that you might want to catch up on this weekend. Myself, I am definitely going to go for it. Now, the next movie that we are recommending is Saw X. This is a 2023 American horror film, if you are into horrors, and the 10th installment of the Saw film series that serves as both a direct sequel to Saw 2004 and a prequel to Saw 2 2005. It is directed and edited by Kevin Grutert and written by Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg. Take a look at the detail. Please, if you are someone that fears horrors, I highly recommend you close your eyes.
You picked John Kramer?
The cancer is still spreading. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. There is one person who might be able to help.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
She saved my life.
You're in very good hands with us.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done. Hello, everyone. It's time to play a game. You all pretended to cure me, but what I have planned for each of you is very real. The only thing I have not provided is your anesthetic. But trust me, you will want to remain alert.
Saw is the movie right there. Actually, Saw X is the movie. If you are someone that loves horrors, you like the feeling of fear, the rush that goes through your veins, this is the movie that you might want to look out for this weekend. If you're looking for something a little more thrilling than action, maybe this is the one, but make sure you don't fear your bed in the night. Sometimes these thoughts come back to us. Now, this particular film stars Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith reprising their roles from the previous films, with Sinov Makodi Land and Steven Brand, Renata Veka, and Michael Beach set between the events of the first two films. John Kramer, also Bell, travels to Mexico in hopes an experimental procedure may cure him, later discovering a scam within the operation. As retribution, he kidnaps those responsible and subjects them to his trademark death traps. Enough of the spoiling, so if you want to catch up on such a storyline, this is the movie that you will be watching. Saw X, if you want to check it out, that is the one we are recommending now. The last movie to be recommended is Ballerina. Now, this is for the fairy tale lovers. This is for the, you know, the calm kind of, you know, feeling. Now, this is a South Korean action thriller film directed by Lee Chung-hyun. These names are very interesting. You will pardon me just in case. Starring Jeon Jong-seo, Kim Ji-hyun, Park Hyun-rim. It was premiered at the 28th Busan International Film Festival in Korean cinema and a special premiere section on October 5th, 2023. Take a look at the trailer.
여보세요? 내 친구 중에 발레하는 애. 걔가 죽었어요. 해야 할 일이 좀 있어요. 사냥 비슷한 거요. 내가 뭐 하나만 물어볼게. 그 새끼 어디 있어? 내가 너 지옥까지 쫓아갈 거야.
처음 보는 우리였어요. 내가 지금 장난하는 것 같아.
나 기억 안 나? 나야. 발레리나.
Ballerina is the movie right there. I can assure you we were still laughing at the pronunciation of these names because, no. Now, this particular movie is streamed globally on Netflix on October 6th. So, if you haven't checked your account properly and you want to check it out, please do go ahead. Now, Jang Ok-ju is a former bodyguard who sets out to hunt down a sex trafficking to avenge her friend Choi Min-hee's death. I can assure you these names. Now, the cast, I may not mention the names of the people that were casted here, but when you see faces, you will know some of the faces that you have seen in some of the Korean movies and series. But maybe just to help someone, Jeon Jong-seo, Kim Ji-hyun, I think Park Hyun-rim, this one I know, I've seen him in a number of movies. But in April 2022, confirming the of the film, directed by Lee Chung-hyun and produced by Climax Studio, it has I've already given you these people. That is the movie to look out for, Ballerina. This time round, it is a Korean side, not the usual Ballerina movies that we do have for you when it comes to the movies that you can watch this weekend. Now, still speaking matters entertainment, earlier this week, we also a report that came out. We saw the interview actually where Jada Smith, wife to Will Smith, gave us some revealing, some interesting information about their marriage. Apparently, they have been living separate since 2016. Who would have imagined? Who would have thought? And she said in the interview that she did not want to give separated. I don't know who is fooling who, but in Africa, you're either this or that. We are not, we are. You know, and after this, please note that these two met in 1990 and, you know, started dating in 1995, got married in 1997, had their first child together in 1998 and another in 2000. That is Will Smith, that is Jaden Smith and Willow Smith. Now, while Will and Jada have cemented themselves as the Hollywood power couple, over the years they have also been incredibly candid about the various highs and lows of their marriage. And well, it's been put out there in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, Jada Smith came out and mentioned how she had an entanglement with a family friend that we know, August Alsina, and so much more. So she says they are still figuring out. Jada told the people over the state of their marriage. We have been doing some really heavy-duty work together. We just got deep love for each other, and we are going to figure out what that looks like for us. She also mentioned that she did not know how the public would take the news of their separation over the years. So they didn't know how to handle the situation, and well, give them some grace, yeah, because at the end of the day, many of us are still figuring out these things, and some people it's only because the news don't get out. But we will keep you updated on what happens in the Smith empire. For now, that is it for the entertainment news, and coming up is going to be Ruben with the sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority URA, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, will launch the URA Digital Strategy on Friday 13th October 2023 at the URA NIP grounds, Nakawa. The URA Digital Strategy is aligned to the National Digital Transformation Roadmap launched in August 2023 and to the broader Uganda Vision 2040. It aims at optimizing URA operations, strategic direction, and value proposition through a deep and coordinated shift in tech culture, workforce deployments, and the use of advanced technologies. These include big data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to transform tax administration processes and build an integrated and secure tax ecosystem. The strategy sets out to deliver near-instant tax services, inclusive solutions for all tax segments, and solid technologies within convenient reach for taxpayers. The exciting, all-encompassing, client-centric goal of this transformation is to create a simplified tax experience near you. This is a hybrid event with minimal physical attendance. Virtual attendance options are Zoom, live stream via LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube by way of URA TV.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. Inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
As well. Then Republic of Ireland will take on Greece. Liechtenstein will take on Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then Netherlands, the Dutch, that's a big one tonight. The Dutch against France. And I've tried to look at the lineup that will be playing for the Dutch and of course that French team. Starting with the France team that is coached by Didier Deschamps, the World Cup and European Cup winner. Of course, won the World Cup. The SBN goalkeeper. Then the back four will have the two Hernandez brothers. That is Tio. Konate will be in central defense with Benjamin. Be partnering Rabiot in that midfield for the French team if the coach decides to call them.
This weekend.
Father, forgive them.
For they know not.
They do not know what they are doing. Luke chapter 23. You know, they do not know what they are doing. But look at this. This is a man in pain, according to our humanistic. Was not in pain.
Was not. He's hurt of a rod, pain, the physical pain. And he said, you can do nothing to me that can keep me from loving you.
Now, his confessions are contrary to what he's going through. In other words, he has matured to a level of being able to know how to handle pain and how to love.
Thank you.
Now, his love superseded the pain he was experiencing.
In fact, he was willing to endure the pain in order to release the love.
The love. In other words, you cannot love until you're able to master the pain.
This weekend on UBC.
Television, and we are closing into the end of the show. And just before we close, I wanted to take the comments that you were able to, share with us as we were having today's discussion. We were talking about the conduct of our politicians and a lot more. And you people had a lot to share. I'm hoping that I will be in position to read all your comments, because it would be very unfortunate after I promised that I would be reading these comments. Now, briefly, let's learn from the history of America by Dr. Martin. And Dr. Martin Luther King says, without God, everything will be impossible. Polite demonstration one, none of the politicians in Uganda will success into power if they are not with God. And this is Paul. Then someone says, Okay. Good morning, UBC. Some political leaders are jokers because the institution of parliament has become nothing and can do nothing about their misbehavior. There are laws that regulate conduct of leaders, but impunity around everything. Disrespect is an outrageous behavior which is not necessary for any leader and shouldn't be compromised. I am Komboni. Komboni, thank you. Elias says some politicians have nothing to deliver to their people, so as to be voted again, they have to look for sympathy vote through violence. I will not go into further. Then Nze James Musaigwa Museveni put the blame to voters. If you check NUP MPs, 98% are more of hooligans than leaders. Lastly, NUP Musizensigo Yovuchai. Let's not put this on only a particular political party. Now, good morning, Uganda citizens should be careful during election period. Moses from Gulu says, and like I said, the comments are quite many here. And some are really long. I may not be in position to, to read them. Thanks for the show. I think money has done more harm than good. Regan Clinton from Ginger says, thanks for the show, Miss Monica. I think in Uganda, teaching is based on content, that is theory. Yet in real life, you need skills to compete out there. Those and so many more are the comments that you were able to put forward in today's discussion. And we thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, for being part of the show. On set with me, Jerome Paul is right next to me. We also do have Kosinge Jacqueline, who has been ushering us into the weekend. I didn't quite get the name of the gentleman on the strings, but I'm sure before the few minutes end, we will have got the name. Over to you, Jerome Paul.
With our main act of the day, I really have lots of questions when it comes to gospel musicians lately. Why? Because I've seen the
now earning something out of the industry, unlike the days back then when someone was only, coming out for concerts as ministry, or rather preaching. But these days people are putting in money and everything. So Jacqueline, as we're getting into this conversation, I need to understand how did you get into, doing gospel? Did you look at it as ministry, or you looked at it as a career, as a gospel artist?
I looked at it as both.
Okay.
You can look at it as both. It's ministry, and at the same time, it's a career. If I'm to go in a place and then someone offering of 200K, whichever.
Okay.
No, don't give it to me, I'm ministering.
Yes.
I think to me, as a gospel artist, it goes both ways. It's a career, and at the same time, it's a ministry.
Okay. And when it comes to payments, why I'm sticking to the payment part, the gospel industry, most of the artists in there have crossed over to the secular part, because some of them say they've been putting in a lot of money, or they've been investing in heavily to do production work and everything. And at the end of it all, it's not paying. And you're not only going to be feeding on ministering without earning something. Has it ever crossed your mind to try to do some secular music?
It hasn't crossed my mind to do secular music, but maybe I've thought of like doing love songs, because I believe love started from the Bible, started from the Garden of Eden, and we're not like talking about like it's about secular or something. Probably they're doing love songs at the same time still singing about God, worshiping and all of those other things, but I would not love to say that they may be going away from gospel, though there are those that are living like they even verb about it, like I'm doing secular, and everyone has their own choice. And yeah, everyone has their own choice, and for me as an individual, I'm not going to leave gospel anytime soon.
Okay.
Or never.
Yeah, and before I get back to you though, we also have an instrumentalist. I really have issues with those words, but this one is a guitarist who is also
Say it with me.
instrumentalist. The other word that was actually playing me, I won't say it again, but it was also musical. Now on set we also have a saxophonist. So now on set we also have a guitarist who is with Jacqueline this morning, and we need to have some few questions as well for him to tell us how he met Jacqueline, how long he has actually been doing this particular duty of his as a support person in this particular journey of Jacqueline. Hello, good sir, how are you? Good morning. What must be your name, and also take us through your journey into doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. My name is Colin Georgie. Guitarist, like you said, or instrumentalist. And musicians, actually, when you say musician, you're specifically talking about a professional instrumentalist. And yeah, when they say musician, singers also say a musician. Some of them are not. We are the musicians.
Okay.
Well, what you asked, I've been doing music for quite some time as a guitar player, but mostly I playing with them, but also I go an extra mile and try to organize with them, try to figure out how they could like work on their careers, get to the next level as musicians and artists. And that's specifically what I do. So on a daily basis, you ask Jackie how we even make money or survive.
Okay.
Being able to create a career for myself as a musician or a person dealing with music, but it goes way beyond just playing an instrument. You have to be able to, for example, to acquire other skills. Then maybe eventually you can even consult for others, like organize events for other artists and even organizations.
Okay.
You can teach music. So I happen to teach in schools. I also teach other people music and everything related to music and art.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Thank you very much for turning up this Friday morning. Lastly, Jacqueline, with me I do have a post of the Music House. Briefly take us through what the viewers should expect from this one, especially the lovers of gospel music, as well as pretty much everybody who loves soul music and gospel, really.
Okay. So the Music House Live was founded by our very own Colin, and it has an academy, and then like every year they make 2 events that represent artists that are not seen on mainstream media, upcoming artists that are so passionate about what they do, and having all of these different genres that we don't normally see on television. That is what Kajoin House does. That is what the Music House does. And on 27th October, we are having an amazing show that is going to feature 7 artists that are going to have the best of their music. Forward, it's going to be at the German Culture Center, Gothzentrum, and you could pass by. It's in Bukoto. I think Colin can speak more about it.
Yeah. That needs to be said. It will be a live show, live concert. Gospel artists will be there. Jacqueline has played on. Right now, Jacqueline is organizing the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just one last question to you, Jacqueline and Colin, and then before I get to Sonko, how will you be spending your weekend? Because just to let you know, my work here is going to be done in like the next 1 minute, and I'm looking forward to leaving to go for the weekend. How are you spending your weekend?
I think for this weekend we're preparing for the event of 27th. We are doing rehearsals, moving around, jumping through this place from one border to border. So we're also looking like for spaces where we can take these artists to, you know, showcase what they are doing and things of that kind.
All right. So how will you be spending your weekend?
Oh my goodness! This time around I'm heading to my home village. I've always been around about staying indoors or traveling. And I will be traveling, a gathering to come up, which is actually coming up this weekend. So I'll be meeting relatives, family, uncles, aunties. So it's more like a Kumanyagana sort of thing in the Lugandan dialect. So, and some prayers as well.
Yeah, I wanted to whisper something to you, but I think I'd rather not to do it on air.
Okay.
Like, please be in Kampala by Sunday 7 p.m.
Yeah, I will. Hopefully I will be back by Saturday evening time. But I want to wish all the best to the viewers out there, especially when we're actually going to, as we're heading into the weekend. It's quite a long one if you start it on a Thursday. The people actually start it on Thursdays, or even if you start it on a Friday morning.
Well, but break, you can even start on Wednesday.
On Wednesday. So we wish you all the best, because we still want to see you alive and healthy. And you as our viewer, we want to move with you every single day from Monday to Friday. All the best for the weekend, and have yourself a blessed and happy one from me to you.
Right, from me and the rest of the team, we wish you a very wonderful weekend. We'll meet again on Monday. See you then.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. And if you can find that fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out. Move mountains, we're gonna walk it out. Move mountains, and I rise up high, let the day I rise up, I rise unafraid, I rise up. And I rise up, I rise like the wave, I rise up, in spite of the ache, I rise up. and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting so hard to breathe, and when you feel like dying, see, I promise you we will take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I rise up. I rise like the day. I rise up. I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. I'll do it for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is I Rise Up. It's a cover, and I hope you've enjoyed it. There's this next song. It's called Goodbye, written and being performed by co singer Jacqueline. Yours truly. Don't remember the former things. Don't consider the things of the old. I know it's been so hard, but the power of your memory keeps you in lockdown. Be aware of what's new to come. The light of today is greater than yesterday's darkness. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Failures, don't consider your victories. Look up to the heavens, it's raining. Look up to the heavens, it's shining. God's grace is new every morning, so don't look behind. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Oh, goodbye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye to yesterday, bye bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Uncle, you should see London.
Oh, my boy. This has been 5 years. You should see Uganda.
Yes. Uncle Marcus, huh? That's my former